Welcome to part 2 of The Pure Existent, selections from The Life Divine by Sri Aurobindo, vegetarian, on Words of Wisdom. India is the home of many great spiritual masters who have brought wisdom and truth to earth. Their lives and compassionate teachings inspire us to seek a higher purpose in life, thus uplifting humanity to a more divine state of being. One such great figure is the spiritual master, yogi, philosopher, poet, and politician Sri Aurobindo, who graced our planet from 1872 to 1950. Sri Aurobindo's time as a politician was dedicated to achieving India's independence. However, after inner reflection, Sri Aurobindo retired from politics and service to his country. His aspirations turned instead toward the liberation of all humanity. Sri Aurobindo traveled to Pondicherry on the southeastern coast of India, where he retreated into the practice of silent yoga. Based on the inner knowledge revealed to him during his spiritual practice, Sri Aurobindo began publishing writings full of wisdom. Originally written by Sri Aurobindo between 1914 and 1919, The Life Divine describes the spiritual journey that unfolds as a person sincerely seeks the highest truth. Such a journey leads to the soul's awakening and the direct experience of divinity. Today, we continue to present excerpts from Chapter 10, The Pure Existent, from the book The Life Divine. Chapter 10, The Pure Existent. But to settle the account, we have to know what is this all, this infinite and omnipotent energy. And here we come to a fresh complication. For it is asserted to us by the pure reason, and it seems to be asserted to us by Vedanta, that as we are subordinate and an aspect of this movement, so the movement is subordinate and an aspect of something other than itself, of a great timeless, spaceless stability, stanu, which is immutable, inexhaustible, and unexpended, not acting though containing all this action, not energy but pure existence. Those who see only this world energy can declare indeed that there is no such thing. Our idea of an eternal stability, an immutable pure existence, is a fiction of our intellectual conceptions, starting from a false idea of the stable. For there is nothing that is stable. All is movement. And our conception of the stable is only an artifice of our mental consciousness, by which we secure a standpoint for dealing practically with the movement. It is easy to show that this is true in the movement itself. There is nothing there that is stable. All that appears to be stationary is only a block of movement, a formulation of energy at work, that so affects our consciousness that it seems to be still, somewhat as the earth seems to us to be still, somewhat as a train in which we are traveling seems to be still in the midst of a rushing landscape. But is it equally true that underlying this movement, supporting it, there is nothing that is moveless and immutable? Is it true that existence consists only in the action of energy? Or is it not rather that energy is an output of existence? We see at once that if such an existence is, it must be, like the energy, infinite. Neither reason, nor experience, nor intuition, nor imagination bears witness to us of the possibility of a final terminus. All ends and beginnings presuppose something beyond the end or beginning. An absolute end, an absolute beginning, is not only a contradiction in terms, but a contradiction of the essence of things, a violence, a fiction. Infinity imposes itself upon the appearances of the finite by its ineffable or inescapable self-existence. But this is infinity with regard to time and space, an eternal duration, interminable extension. The pure reason goes farther, and looking in its own colorless and austere light at time and space, points out that these two are categories of our consciousness, conditions under which we arrange our perception of phenomenon. When we look at existence in itself, time and space disappear. If there is any extension, it is not a spatial, but a psychological extension. If there is any duration, it is not a temporal, but a psychological duration. And it is then easy to see that this extension and duration are only symbols that represent to the mind something not translatable into intellectual terms, an eternity which seems to us the same, all-containing, ever-new moment, an infinity which seems to us the same, all-containing, all-pervading point without magnitude. And this conflict of terms, so violent, yet accurately expressive of something we do perceive, shows that mind and speech have passed beyond their natural limits and are striving to express a reality in which their own conventions and necessary oppositions disappear into an ineffable identity. But is this a true record? May it not be that time and space so disappear merely because the existence we are regarding is a fiction of the intellect, a fantastic nihil created by speech, which we strive to erect into a conceptual reality? We regard again that existence in itself, and we say no, there is something behind the phenomenon, not only infinite but indefinable. Of no phenomenon, of no totality of phenomena, can we say that absolutely it is? Even if we reduce all phenomena to one fundamental, universal, irreducible phenomenon of movement or energy, we get only an indefinable phenomenon. The very conception of movement carries with it the potentiality of repose, and betrays itself as an activity of some existence. The very idea of energy in action carries with it the idea of energy abstaining from action. And absolute energy not in action is simply and purely absolute existence. We have only these two alternatives, an indefinable pure existence or indefinable energy in action. If the latter alone is true, without any stable base or cause, then the energy is a result and phenomenon generated by the action, the movement alone. We have then no existence, or we have the nihil of the Buddhists, with existence as only an attribute of an eternal phenomenon, of action, of karma, of movement. This asserts the pure reason, leaves my perceptions unsatisfied, contradicts my fundamental seeing, and therefore cannot be. For it brings us to a last abruptly ceasing stair of an ascent, which leaves the whole staircase without support, suspended in the void. For more information, please visit sriaurobindoashram.org.